I don't know how you set up your training, but I
Right now,
would.
I'm doing rest pause 3 days a week.
What's that?
Right now in the phase that we're doing, I just pulled out of a contest prep about 8 weeks ago
Okay.
because business just got too crazy, and so right
That's a
now
good thing.
we're in a kind of a holding phase before I get blood work done.
Hmm.
Everything should be good,
Hmm.
and we pulled back because I've been working. I apologize for how hard it was. I've been working 16, 18-hour days for quite a while trying to do some business transition. And so we're only training 3 days a week. It's
Hmm.
rest pause.
Hmm.
I think the first workout is calves, forearms, biceps. It's got a lying hamstring curl and a quad movement. Like basically some split up like that where I'm doing those two workouts and rotating those two workouts back and forth and doing a third day and then just continuing on. So quick, easy.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you could, integrate because since you're doing some full body stuff, you could do this movement on the day that you're training your triceps, or, I don't see a big conflict there.
No, no.
So
I
you
can
should be
add
able
that. That's
to
going to
put
be
this
good.
in, however you
When
like.
I've got a shoulder press, once I get decent with the load, that would be for me right
Yeah.
now would be a good option just to replace it with that.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to deload some of the tissues and get rid
Yeah.
of any exercise that is causing you aggravation.
See, my stubbornness from just, I played 3 years of college football,
Uh-huh.
was under Rob Glass, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, you just get under the bar and you move it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
know how
I
bad of a thought process that is, but like, you know, um, it's really hard to find people like yourself to talk
mhm.
about these things because it's not talked about. It's just more brush under the rug. We're just going to switch the movement out. Like we don't ever really address the issue.
The problem, the
The
underlying
problem.
problem, correct.
Because I
So,
work with
this is a good one. Let's replace any kind of vertical pressing with this one for right now. I have another progression,
Okay.
after this that we can worry about later, but I want to get to another sequence that you're really going to like. And I'm going to use my fancy search engine here. Okay. And I'm going to give you this um, whole sequence here. So this is an article that we did. Okay, like we do a lot of stuff. Now I want you to watch this movement here. See, that's a pretty high position. Okay, he's going to get to some
Isometric.
others.
There's like a static isometric back there.
Hmm.
And a little bit of shoulder extension, a little bit of
And as you go lower, lower lat.
ah, ah. Man, and that's that position that just crushes the front of my shoulder in any row movement.
But
Yeah.
here it shouldn't.
No, up high. But
Right.
like
So
you're talking
you'll
about
have to
that.
adjust, and
Yeah.
you might find that that's not comfortable. Then move it to a position that is.
So it's about finding that spot. Yeah. Okay.
Initially, we had a client in the other day, one of Dr. Serrano's new patients who went through that sequence, right? Up high, he was uncomfortable. We moved it down a few inches lower and he was fine. So we're going to work
Yeah.
in that range of motion. And
Perfect.
then after some other things, we will try and go back into that higher range of motion and see what his functionality is then. So keys there is, we want this set. Let's say we're doing this is the on a horizontal day. I really like this on a day that you are doing your horizontal pressing and pulling.
Mm.
This is
Okay.
first in the workout.
Do
So
you
I'd
recommend
like
doing
I'd
those
like to see
together?
you do 3 sets and the duration of about 20 seconds. And then let's say over the course of a 6-week period, you might add 5 or 10 seconds to the set. So by week 6, you're holding a 30-second pause.
Got it.
And you can, play with the weight load. I mean, look, It's an exercise where the weight loads are going to be pretty conservative, right? Because you
Yeah,
don't want to be in a situation where it's like the key is to get it as far back as you can.
right,
Now, using a higher weight load, which allows me then to go less range of motion, is not optimal.
right.
So you might be like 10, 20 pounds. It might be 10 pounds.
Different application
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is good for hypertrophy. I mean, if I were to look at any bodybuilder, which I know you've done some bodybuilding, I mean, for back development,
How many, yeah,
uh,
and how many bodybuilders don't have shoulder issues?
none.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
None. It's just a matter of time.
None. Yeah.
It's just a matter of time,
Who doesn't have
because
a shoulder, a knee, or a back that hurts?
yeah, and I would say a lot of the back stuff is from doing just simply stupid things.
Yeah. Or
Like Dr.
sitting,
Sharana would say is, just for your information, any bodybuilder, do not hack squat, do not leg press.
really.
Puts the lower back. I have another video on my Instagram that I'll pull up. But if you can imagine your lower back when you're in that 45-degree, let's call it decline position for a leg press, it moves the hips and the lower back in a point where those discs are exposed to a very bad position and extremely
Yeah.
high blood pressure.
Ooh, I didn't even
Perfect
think about
equation for a
blood
disc
pressure. I didn't
herniation.
even think about the blood pressure.
And the leg press, I could look it up. The leg press is the top movement where people die in the gym because they faint or have a herniation and then boom, the sled comes down on them. It's really just a poorly designed machine from that perspective. Is a horizontal leg press better? Yeah, yeah, you have less risk, but still not optimal. I mean, there's still
Hey,
many
what do
free
you like
weight.
to do? What do you like to do for hypertrophy, split squats?
I
What
have
about,
clients squat who can squat well, right? So that's a relative thing. Working with clients remotely, what you and I think is a good squat and what they may think is a good squat could be two widely different things. So I'll give you
amen.
an example. I spoke to a client yesterday. He sent me a video of a safety bar squat. It was excellent. He can't back squat worth a darn. Can't do it because he actually has a shoulder problem. He can't get the bar in a good position.
That's me.
Right. So my attitude is, well, then you're not back squatting. Now, a safety bar squat, you're familiar with that, right?
Yep.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Why not make it easier for yourself and and use that movement where you can squat to parallel, you can get all of the benefits of a back squat without having to perfect the bar position. Because if you have a shoulder issue, it's never going to get better if you're cranking it and putting in a situation there where you have a bar on your back and pressing things and whatever. So that is something else I had on my agenda for things that are aggravating your shoulder that you don't know, putting a bar on your back. So
You
I
know,
if
that's
you have a
so
safety bar
true.
squat, I would use that for a while. Alternative to that, if you can front squat, if you're comfortable with that, then that's
You
another
know,
thing that most people can do without shoulder
I've
pain.
always liked front squat. I told myself with the shoulder and having to do that, but
Yeah,
I tried it the other day and I don't have to go heavy to build my quads doing front squat. I
right.
could use 225 and just tempo the shit out of it. If I need to use a heel to get a little bit more knee
Yes.
flex, so I've definitely had to, that's what's been real tough for me is like, okay, the hack squat, the bracing, the profile, yeah, that's, but I feel the same way you do. People talk about it like this is maximal. Even I put the reverse band on it,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Which has helped with that load at the spine at the bottom.
Hmm.
But the way that I'm built, real long torsoed, like I feel exactly what you're talking about is my head feels like it's going to pop off because my blood pressure's so high. And if I go heavy enough to really challenge my legs, the low back is the fucking limiting factor.